Om Namah Shivaya, Asinest Fire, here on the Way of Dharma 108. Let us talk about a story of mine. Let us talk about one of my earliest practices in occultism and spirituality. For today, we will be speaking about Homam and what are the benefits of Homam, how to do an easy Homam, and so on and so forth. Now, first, before we continue, if you are new over here, please make sure that you do subscribe. Please make sure that you do like, and please make sure that you stay tuned to watch till the end. Om Namah Shivaya. As an fire, I sell different jap malas for different rituals or sadhanas that you may have to partake in this occult spiritual journey. As you have seen in my previous video, this is actually a tiger's eye jap mala. It is useful for all workings of luxury and acquiring luxurious things. Some of you might ask yourself, if these things are so useful and they are for luxury, why can I not be the example? Okay, to start with, I'm in a better space than I was a few years ago, as you may also track the progress of my videos, as you may also see with the quality of my videos. I was in a space whereby I couldn't even stand a chance to offer you this quality of content. So having these in my life definitely did enhance my life. So success and progress and luxury is dependent on your current lifestyle or on your current personality. So if currently you can't afford to take a train maybe to school, you perform magic, you'll be able to take a train from school. So your life is enhanced in that way. Your idea of luxury would be using a train or the subway to go to school or to work. Whereas previously, your mode of transport would be walking. So your life has definitely enhanced. So as you vibrate higher, as you do rituals that increase your vibration, raise your vibration, you begin to vibrate in a harmonious space whereby your definition of luxury differs and changes and becomes abundance in the eyes of others, basically. So even people who are rich and people who are billionaires, because of this tendency of greed, they are not content with what they have. So they're constantly going out to search for what they want because they are not satisfied. So success is dependent on your mindset, it's dependent on your personality and your current ideas of success. So these things will definitely enhance your life. When you are performing rituals of wealth and success, that's what you will have to look for. Life being enhanced in not in a dramatic way, but in a way it will be enhanced. So this is definitely for workings of luxury. And then I have one also in the back. It's a Rudraksha mala. It's a mala for Mahadeva and doing workings of Lord Shiva. Mahadeva is Lord Shiva, by the way. So this mala can also be used to attain spiritual power. You ask, what is spiritual power? Spiritual power, based on mantras, if you are able to invoke the energy of a mantra, to match that energy of the mantra with your energy, to be able to vibrate in the energy of the mantra, to embody the pure energy of that mantra, would be attaining spiritual power and attaining siddhi of that mantra, basically. So when you have spiritual powers, in the way of mantras and chanting mantras, you would have the energy of that particular mantra. You would have been able to successfully activate that mantra and merge it with your own consciousness and awaken yourself to that mantra. So that's what you would mean when you have spiritual power. If you chant a mantra for sexual purposes, you actually embody that energy. Women will find you irresistible. If you chant a mantra for Lord Ganesha, you will find yourself being able to avoid obstacles, and you'll be able to remove a lot of obstacles in your journey. Nothing will be a hindrance in your life, basically. So that's what it means to embody the energy of a mantra. So this definitely aids you in that journey of attaining those spiritual powers, basically. There's other japmalas for certain purposes. So that's what it is. I also sell rings of Saturn. Unfortunately, I'm not wearing one now. It's over there. Yes, I have rings for Saturn. Lord Saturn can be pleased through those rings. He offers protection from the evil eye. Also, when you wear iron, you get to chase away most low vibrational entities, like low vibrating spirits. They are afraid of such things. Anyway, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. And also, I sell incense. For those of you who would like to support and buy incense from me, you would actually do so here in South Africa and actually wait to receive their incense via Pep Korea, also known as Pexi, basically. So yes, guys, this is what I wanted to tell you about. I also sell these copper vessels. I also sell statues or murtis for different deities. All these can be attained. I offer consultations and numerological readings here on this channel. Just leave an email at arsonist.fya@gmail.com. You can also leave a comment. I will guide you through this process. So today, for our topic, we are going to talk about Homam or Havan, also known as a fire ritual, also known as a Yajna. So what is a Homam? A Homam is a ritual of fire worshipping, whereby you give offerings to the fire, as the fire Agni Deva is known as the messenger of the gods. It's much easier to get to the gods through fire. You understand? So giving offerings successfully and establishing a communication with the deities, a faster communication tool would be fire. So fire is a communication medium between the gods and humanity and human beings. Fire worship or fire rituals can be found in many ancient cultures of the planet Earth. It has been practiced in ancient civilizations like ancient Greece, ancient Egypt. Even our native spirituality over here does actually perform fire rituals. So I'm going to relate a few of my stories, and then I will get into detail about these fire rituals. As a young child, I used to steal something from my house and actually run to the backyard. And then in the backyard, I used to burn things. I used to like the fire element. I used to like, it gave me pleasure burning things. So yes, I used to do that a lot. Anyway, what else did I want to say to you guys? I used to do that a lot. I used to like doing that. Basically, I felt like fire could incinerate evidence and nothing could be left to actually point out to. like evidence of the mischievous acts that I would do as a kid. Obviously, stealing something in the house and then hiding it through burning it through the fire. So, fire transports offerings to deities. Of course, even the shamanistic paths of traditional healers, they actually do perform such rituals, and this I later found out through a person that I'm chatting with. And also I do have a friend, after having confirmation from this person that I'm texting, I actually had it from a friend who told me about his church when I was explaining to him to do something similar for his ancestors, basically. He told me that at his church they do it a lot. So this is later confirmed. So even the Christians, or rather the traditional healers who like to masquerade as Christians, use fire rituals even to this day. So what would happen? They would recite certain psalms and verses from the Bible and actually throw offerings into the fire to perform such a ritual. So in Hinduism, in Sanatana Dharma, what I like is the way in which they specify many details regarding this fire ritual. It's specified, and it's calculative, and it's scientific, to a way by you build a fire pit in a certain shape. You use it for a certain purpose. So before we go into it, I'm going to tell you and digress for a few minutes to actually speak about these things. So hearing that this is actually performed in church and traditional healers, before I came into occultism, I didn't know anything about that. So it's only when these people tell me that I'm actually shocked. They were accessible to such knowledge, but still I don't think they are excited, or they don't see the magnitude of the amount of information that they have at their disposal. You understand? So this is what baffles me a lot. So let me fix my seating. So yes, guys, it baffles me a lot. Fast forward in 2021, shortly after the lockdown. I don't know if I'm supposed to mention it in my video, the C word, basically. So I come across an article talking about fire worship and fire rituals in Hinduism, also known as Homams. It was said that Sai Baba of Shirdi used to keep a fire pit with fire, burning fire, like every day, and would supply wood whenever that fire is starting to go out. Would supply wood and feed it to the fire, and then keep it burning all day, all night, 24/7. The reason was that he says that it clears the karma of the sadhakas, or the aspirants of spirituality, or the trodders, or the ones treading the path of spirituality. So it is said that it clears your karma. That's one benefit. Okay. So now I read more and more about it, and then I finally get the courage to actually perform one. So in 2020, my logic was this: fire, since that it burns. When you burn something, you change its form from the physical form into the spiritual form. So when you burn something, it loses its physical form. So that energy then turns into spiritual energy, or rather it turns into energy. So when it turns into energy, it's much more easy to give it to deities, because it's in the form of energy, as it is no longer physical. So it would hasten the process of offering it to the gods. So, and also there's this thing that I knew from the past, that offerings and sacrifices need to come from the heart. And then, since that they need to come from the heart, it would be sensible to actually offer something that is dear to you, something that you have a strong attachment with, to actually give as energy to a deity or a devata or a devi spirit, basically. So I then formulated a ritual out of it. It was also the time whereby I was starting to work with the planets, the 9 planets of Hinduism or Vedic astrology. And then as soon as I learned that, I started performing fire rituals. What I would do, I would take my old clothes, ones that I love so much, and I would perform a fire ritual and then offer those clothes into the fire to actually the 9 planets. Man did that work. Man did that work. So as I'm speaking to you now, I'm remembering the olden days of 2021. It was one of my successful years. It's actually the years where I bought these studio equipments, from nothing to something, basically, using fire rituals. I only did it for a short period earlier in the year, and then it was enough to help me have a great start of a beautiful year that I had. So I used to have a japmala at hand, and then I would chant mantras for the 9 planets, depending depending on what day it was. So if it was a Monday, I would chant mantras for the moon, and then take those clothes and offer into the fire and then burn them. I had a jacket of G-Star Raw, which is something that's only becoming popular now. I had it from like grade 10, a very expensive jacket. I took it and put it into the flames, and then I burned it and I did a fire ritual using it. So, man, it's a powerful process. So, a fellow YouTuber or a yes, okay, let's not call people friends now. A fellow practitioner, you may have seen him on my channel. The one who owns African Scientific Spirituality, Afro Scientific Spirituality, actually saw my posts on these videos of fire rituals and got interested, or on how I perceive this thing. So I made it simple to him that fire turns things into spiritual energy, and then you take that energy, you offer it to the spirits, and got interested. So it became an interesting knowledge, basically. So I used to perform fire rituals. There was one fire ritual that I did. You see, there's 2 combination of planets. You perform rituals for these 2 planets. It will be enough to bring harmony, and you'll basically have luck in your life. It's the planet Mars and the planet Saturn. If you can balance those 2, you can thank me later. The other ones I can acknowledge, they are powerful, but if you can work on these 2, I'm telling you, luck is coming your way. So I performed a fire ritual on Saturday. There was a guy that I was trying to introduce to spirituality. I didn't want to teach him meditation or the techniques of meditation at the time, because judging his character, it's someone that drinks, smokes, and basically someone who is not of a stable mind and goes with whatever that flows. So if you teach such a person, you are casting pearls among swine, because now this person is only sad in that moment. So when you teach them meditation and you keep them company for that time, and then you'll start to expect a certain behavior out of them, a certain change out of them, not knowing that they are only there because they are sad. It's not like they want to bring change into their lives. So I actually told him this. So we didn't continue with this. This person, we performed a fire ritual on Saturday, and then I later performed another one on Tuesday. Yes, on Tuesday. Okay, I started by performing, like, since tomorrow will be a Tuesday, let's say I performed the ritual on Tuesday, And then the Saturday that follows after the Tuesday, I perform another fire ritual, a yajna, for Saturn. And then on Monday, I receive a job, basically, around the vicinity at a restaurant all day. So I get offered a job immediately. No interview, nothing. I didn't even go there to search for the job. I was hustling, busy pushing my hustling, and then the lady appeared and then gave me a job. You see how powerful these fire rituals are. So performing a fire rituals, you would require a few items. So now I'm just going to tell you these things to show you that I actually know the ritual and how to perform the ritual in its tantric applicable way, basically. It's not that you can actually, maybe you can gain knowledge, but I don't think this knowledge will be sufficient enough to help you to perform the full depth fire ritual, basically. So the things that you would need in a fire ritual would be what? Would be incense, also known as dhupam. Incense. So sandalwood incense would be beneficial for fire rituals of a muscular nature and inviting spirits of a muscular nature, meaning devas. And then those scents like rose and those sweet scents, I forgot another one, I think it's frankincense. They can be used to actually invoke the energy of Devis or female and feminine Shakti energy. So you would need incense, basically. Make sure you do have a paper and a pen to write this down. Incense, and then you would need a bowl or a water pot. A water pot, this is actually a copper water pot. This would have water in it. What will the water be used for? I will tell you just now. And then if you're doing it indoors, you will need something to catch water on, basically. And then also you would need a candle holder if you are indoors with a candle. And then other objects may be used like the diya lamp or the ghee lamp, whereby you will have a ghee inside a lamp with a wick, and then you use that for lighting instead of this candle. So different candle colors for different rituals, basically. For the planet Mars, you would need a red candle. For the moon, you would need a white candle. For Mercury, you would need a green candle. For Jupiter, you would need a yellow candle. For Shukracharya, which is Venus, you would need a white candle also. For Rahu, black candle. Ketu, black candle or gray candle. Also Saturn, black candle. What else? For the sun, you would either use vermilion, which is a form of orange-red combination, or you would use red, basically. So those would be for different applications. So you would need those articles. You would need this, basically. This is a wooden spoon. What you would need this for is, I'm going to show you something right now. I'm going to show you something right now. You would need this for ghee, basically. This is ghee. This is used as fuel. It's also used as offerings, basically. This can also be procured or bought from the way of Dharma. Send me an email. I will link you up right now. We will also need what? Let me show you something. Them are sick people. Them are look at me. Yes. Anyway, you would need a coconut, Purna Hati or a coconut. This would symbolize the ego, would symbolize your head, basically. You would need what? You would need this, basically. I will tell you what you would need this for. So now let's talk, guys. And also you would need something similar, or rather you can use the silver one and just a wooden spoon. But I also have this. I took it from my mother, stole it from my mother. Anyway, this one, I think it's for her, one of her makeup things. But this one, I use it to catch, or rather to take water. I don't think you can see. Yes. This one stores water very easily, as you can see. It's deep, basically. You would need those things. You would need a yantra, basically, but you won't need a yantra. It's not a must to have a yantra. You would need some akshatas. Akshatas would be your grains, which is white rice or brown rice. You would need what's that thing? You would need sesame seeds. You would need Dharma grass. I don't have that. Have no access of it, but you would need it. You would also need what? Black sesame seeds if you have them. But they are important. I have yet to experiment with black sesame seeds, but you can use whatever that you can get, basically. So those akshatas will be used for a sankalpa. Sankalpa would be an intent that you would say before you begin the ritual. You basically hold those things in your palm with water, and then you say whatever that you want to say. You throw it on the floor where you will draw a diagram of some sort where those things will fall to symbolize that you are doing a sankalpa, basically, a vow, saying a vow to actually get those results, and then you throw it there. You will need a kundam, which is a fire pit, most important, where you will burn the fire. There's copper kundams. I have none like that in access. I only have a kundam that I made out of a ash tray of a fireplace, steel fireplace. So I use it and I put a few bricks around it in a certain shape. In my case, it's a square shape or a rectangle shape. So to actually accommodate that thing. But Homam kundams can also be built by shaping your bricks in a certain way and then putting play sand inside it, and then that's where you will do your homam your homam fire, your yajna, basically. And then what else do we need? We need that. I have said that we need this. Okay, for this we are going to have water inside, water that you will consecrate or make holy or sacred. This is a good conductor of spiritual energy. You consecrate it. The water from this will be used to consecrate the space in which you are going to perform the homam. And then what else? Seeing that it will be consecrating that, it will also consecrate your ritual tools. I almost forgot. You need a corresponding japa that will correspond to the purpose of your ritual. This I have already said, it helps in attracting luxury and a luxurious life. So for another purpose, you would require maybe a rudraksha for wakings of Lord Shiva. You would need sandal japmala for wakings of Lord Ganesha, or wakings of pleasing the 9 planets. Or rather, you can check which of the japmala materials that fits into the criteria of pleasing the planets. Sometimes you may have a gemstone that would be pleasing to the energy of Mars, or rather resonating with the energy of Mars. And sometimes you can find that some articles and some japmalas resonate well with other frequencies. Like a favorite japmala of mine, Haldi japmala. It is made out of turmeric. It is used for workings of Jupiter, and is also used for workings of Sri Bagalamukhi Devi. Very dear to me, that Devi, very powerful. Also, you can have japmalas that are made out of yellow stone, which is yellow hakik for that purpose, and any other japmala color that would correspond to your desirable planet that you are trying to work with. I think I've mentioned the things that you would need for a fire ritual, basically. And then what you would do, you would start the puja by doing what? Cleaning the space around it. You do that by doing what? Taking water in your palm, purifying the energy, the area. After purifying the area, you take water in your hand, put the akshatas in your hand, throw it on the floor where you have that diagram, and then after doing that, you purify yourself, basically. Well, before doing the sankalpa, you purify yourself through the ritualistic drinking of water while you chant certain mantras, 3 mantras that you chant. After doing that, you say your sankalpam. After doing that, you light up the fire, you light up the incense. After doing that, you invoke Lord Ganesha for opening the way to you or to your sadhana. You chant a few mantras. After doing that, you place the mantra in different parts of your body, in your 6 limbs, in your fingers, in your palms, in basically those areas. You invoke mantras. After doing that, you invoke the deity into your presence, into the fire pit, and then you do what? You start giving fire offerings to the preliminary deities that you would invoke into the fire. So I said to you that I was going to tell you the importance of this. No, now we have this, and then we have this, and then we have, where's that damn thing? No. Then we have this. Remember, this is ghee. You see, it's coming in this level, basically. When it comes at such a level, it means that there's a less amount of it in this thing, basically. So you don't want to be going back to the puja shop, and you don't want to be wasting it. Those are the 2 reasons that we have. There's another third one that I'm going to tell you about. So what you would do, you would take this and offer it. So you see the size of this. That would mean that you would have to offer this, and then it takes so much of a volume of the ghee, and then it pours it into the fire. This also takes so much of a volume and pours it into fire. It's much lesser than the aforementioned one. However, there's disadvantages to this one. You can't be putting your hand in the fire. It will burn you. The fire will take the personality of you. If you are angry on that day, you will see the fire going crazy. It will burn you. Sometimes the fire, when it burns, it doesn't actually burn you physically, but you feel that you are being burnt, basically. So when you keep on sending, pouring the offerings into the fire pit, into the fire, the proximity between you and the fire, you may be close and it's not actually touching you. But soon after you finish the ritual, you will feel that you've been burnt on your hands, and you will start to have marks. Sometimes that is. So This would help you in such a situation because it's far and it has a far reach into the flame. Another reason for this, you just dip this and then automatically it takes the ghee into itself, and then you just do this. You give drops into the fire while you offer to those deities. Om Namah Shivaya. Isn't that wisdom? It is. Basically, my first Jupiter ritual I actually did with what? A tablespoon, basically. Iron tablespoon. I had to give 108 offerings of this. It ended along the way. It got finished along the way, and I ended up burning even the container of it. Yes, I even burned the container of it, trying to compensate for what I had done. So basically, I finished one ghee container in one Homam Yajna, and I got results. I learned that through the hard way. And then the other one is where I used this to actually give into the fire. Reason number one, I got burnt from it. I mean, disadvantage number one, I got burnt from it. Another thing, the fire wasn't strong enough, so I gave too much ghee and then it actually switched off the fire. It smoldered the flame. So those are the disadvantages. And those are the disadvantages. The advantages would be this: it's tall, it's longer, so you are able to give offerings into the fire, offerings of ghee, and then you are able to do what? You are able to put in drops into the fire. You are able to save the ghee for many other homams. This is then can be used for another thing, basically. This can be used for offerings of those grains and sesame seeds and white rice or brown rice, basically. That can also be offered into the fire, Homam. So, and also sugar. So when you have, let's say, 1 kilogram of sugar, I think in America they call it Fahrenheit. I'm joking. It's an ounce or a pound. Let's say you have 8 ounces of sugar. 8 ounces of sugar, 1 kilogram. It's not the conversion rate. But anyway, let's say you have 8 ounces of sugar, and then you want to use that sugar throughout the ritual for 108 mantra recitations. You are aware if you use this, pachapa, shika, pachapa, shika, pachapa, you will finish 8 ounces maybe on the 10th recitation of the mantra. Whereas when you use this, pouring the sugar, just here, little bit of sugar, you can reach 108 recitations with it. And also what else? You'll be able to give many offerings, basically. I tried also using this for sesame seeds also. I find that ghee attaches to the wooden spoon, and then when I dip it into sesame seeds, a lot of sesame seeds, a chunk of it actually attach itself to the wooden spoon, and then I'm also wasting. Sesame seeds are good for fire because they stimulate the fire and they burn because they are dry. Yes, that's the advantage of it. But you can use this for it, or you can find something which is longer, which is similar to this. Om Namah Shivaya, Asinist Fire. I hope everyone is listening and paying attention to what I'm teaching you. The people like Robert Swoboda will talk about fire rituals, but won't actually give you any practical knowledge of it. Instead, will give you caution. I will make a video on him one day, a special video for him, where I give him a piece of my mind. Anyway, let's continue. And then this would symbolize your ego. This is used in the end as the final offering. Man, I didn't know this was so nice, man. You see, whatever that's the coconut inside, when it's dry, you can grate it and then it becomes into that coconut that you can buy in stores. When you eat it, it's so nice. The water from this, while I'm getting accustomed to it, I don't think it's very nice, but it helped me a lot last week when flu was trying to attack me. But this is nice, guys. It's nice. It symbolizes your ego. What you would do is you would cut it in half, or you would puncture a hole, as I had done. But this is a smaller hole. I actually have to puncture it this much so that it can burn into the fire. This symbolizes the ego. You put it as a final offering into the fire, where you can actually use this to symbolize your ego. What else did I want to talk about? There's also kumkum powder, the red powder that we also apply here. It can be also offered into the flame. In my experience, it smells very nice and pleasant. Yes. Another thing that you need to pay attention and pay caution about the fire. In fire rituals, Vedic fire rituals, we offer things that we would like to get out of life. So if you offer alcohol into the flame, expect to get such an energy back, or rather expect to have a karma with the fire that is of an energy of liquor, basically. If you pour chilies into it, expect to have a temper, because now the fire that you see externally is symbolic of the fire body of the bhutagni that you have in the subtle bodies, and also symbolic of the internal fire of the solar plexus. So you offer chilies into it, it will have an impact in your psychology. It will have an impact on you because it's an internal fire. It corresponds to the internal fire. Each and every fire a person starts will be symbolic of that person's spiritual vibration. If you start fire and you are a low vibrating person, it will reflect in your fire. So whatever that you offer into the fire, know that you are digesting that in your spiritual subtle bodies. So you must throw something sweet, something sattvic, something like rice, something like the sattvic grains that you would expect from the life that you are trying to create. Another thing about the fire. Fire is the element of creation. Fire is responsible for your logic, it's responsible for your drive, for your passions, it's responsible for so many things, for your animation. It's also responsible for a large part or a portion of creation, basically. Fire is responsible for that. It's a very, very powerful element, basically. It's one of the 5 elements. It's powerful. What else did I want to say? Also, fire. Why fire rituals are being practiced nowadays, and why it is advisable to practice such fire rituals. In the book by Robert Swaboda, where he was talking about the story of a Swami Vimalananda. The book can be procured by doing an Amazon search. Agora, the left hand path of God, I think. Yes, it's a series of books by Robert Swaboda. Or you can just text me and I'll give you the PDF format. I give you the PDF format of it. Yes, guys. I'm sorry for giving out PDF formats. Man, you see these people, they stole our knowledge. Our knowledge, they got it for free. So if I can give it to you for free and you allow me to do that, I can actually do that. Anyway, this guy wrote a series of books, and in the book he speaks about the other elements. We used to do pranayama, and I still do pranayama. But they say that in this Kali Yuga, the air is contaminated. Guys, I look very nice. Oh, yes, I just remembered what I wanted to tell you about the fire. Anyway, the air element is dirty, the water element is dirty, the earth element is nyammed up, you can't use it, and the akasha element is hard to use and hard to work with, to keep under control because of our vibration. However, something that's incorruptible is fire. So fire purifies, and it's the only element whereby when it comes into contact with a thing, it turns it into itself. It's more like a spiritual person igniting the flames of consciousness in the vicinity and influencing the people around, basically. So that's the workings of fire. It has such an influence in a person's life. And also, what did I want to say? I want to talk about the fire. Fire also symbolizes the solar plexus, the digestive fire. Solar plexus corresponds to the planet Surya. Surya is in actuality a planet that symbolizes the soul, basically. And the other planets are the aspects that come after the soul, the characteristics that keep us away from the soul. As above, so below, as within, so without. So the 9 planets refer to our characteristics and personal traits that bring us away further from the soul, which then symbolize our material levity and material existence. So the sun is the pure soul. So when you work with fire, you are working with the soul, basically. And then water element is symbolic of the mind, because the mind has emotions, and basically it's a chunk of energy, like I spoke about it in the previous video where I spoke about the mind. So fire is the soul, water is the moon, and it corresponds to the mind. So working with the soul, guys, you'll never go wrong. You are automatically working with the planet. I look very nice. I look very nice. I think people can notice it. Even when I'm walking in the street. Oh, that could be why people are looking at me. Okay. So I've been doing fire rituals, guys. They purify my eyes, they purify my skin. Like it purifies your karma, basically. So many other benefits. In another book of a guy that I just recently found his channel, which is one of the people who are actually giving out these fire rituals, says that you can only know its benefits from its application. So now let's talk about Robert Swoboda in a nutshell just now. Okay, Robert Swoboda in the book Agora talks about how the fire is the best way to do sadhana, because now it's convenient for this Kali Yuga. We don't have time for meditation, we don't have time for pranayama, and those elements are definitely dirty, are of a low vibrational nature in this time that you are living in. This person doesn't give you a practical way on how to do this ritual in that book, basically. I don't think he even has a book where he teaches us that, basically. Another thing that he's big on is giving us caution unnecessarily. You find that he gives caution. I think maybe it's Swami Vimalananda. I don't like that approach. I'm sorry. It's responsible for one of my panic attacks last year, because after reading the book Agora, when I read a book, I get so immersed in it, and then it's easy for me to change my personality whenever I read something, because it's like I get into the mind of the person and I listen attentively and obediently. So whatever that you say, if I perceive you to be my guru, I follow it wholeheartedly. So yes, this person cautions us very much. First, he talks about how fire is a convenient way, and then he comes back to tell you that fire will scorch you, will burn you, to show you and remind you that it's still fire. You are no friend of it, basically, in what you would think you are a companion of in human form, basically, if you had a friend in human form. So it will constantly remind you. And then he also goes on to say that wherever that you do the fire, you are burning the earth, and that after burning the fire, you actually have to come with a jar or a glass of water to cool it down and ask the energy of the earth for forgiveness for burning it and increasing the heat. Because if you don't do that, you will have fire energy, too much mass energy, that you won't be able to control. Too much mass energy will make you rajasic, and then you don't act fine, you become passionate. Honestly, I do think there's truth to it, and it does happen that way. But now you're just giving us a ritual, now you're giving us a caution against it. For somebody who's listened to you and some of the things that you say, will be afraid to perform those rituals because of the cautions that you are giving us. Another place where he talks about in this Agora book, he talks about the half knowledge is dangerous. He talks about the pranayama. For us, anulom vilom, we do this and then we breathe in and out. In another video, he speaks about this. He says that the true pranayama anulom vilom should be having awareness of this nostril and this nostril. When you focus your attention, you are able to breathe in through this nostril, and then when you focus in this, you breathe in through that nostril, basically. That's what the original pranayama is, basically, and that we should use that, because doing that, I think he says that it harms us. It's forceful, basically, forceful breathing, and you are not doing anything. Suppose this is a question to you, Robert Swoboda. Suppose I'm a person who lives in this urban life place. I come across a book about pranayama, and then you tell me that I only should use my awareness. I want to do pranayama now. I want to do the shat karmas now. I have not developed the awareness. I have not developed the will to actually bring the awareness here to control my noses through that breathing, that thinking, that conscious thought. What will I do if I want to practice pranayama now? Do I have to be afraid of doing it this way because it's forceful, or do I continue? Well, for me, I think I should continue, because when I do that, according to my understanding, I'm better than someone who isn't doing it, than someone who is in a tavern having a beer belly and doing something which is not sattvic. I'm doing sadhana after all. I will have a glowing body, I will have beautiful aura, I will have a strong aura and magnetic energy when I do from it. It doesn't matter how you do those things, as long as you get the result, basically. I don't care about the safety precautions of that thing or whatever that you are trying to enforce upon us. I just want to get the results of pranayama and then move on into another physical body of a much higher vibration, so that I can come back and do things that are higher. It's unattainable to do such a thing in the Kali Yuga. For now, we're trying to accumulate knowledge, apply it, clear our karmas by applying this knowledge, so that when we come back in a better incarnation, whereby we'll be able to consciously focus our attention on the noses, and consciously we do that pranayama. So yes, guys, I don't like Robert Svoboda's caution in such an aspect, because he tells us of one thing and then he comes back to warn us. In last year, when I was reading Agora, I was disappointed because there's so much caution in there. Even for simple workings like doing yakshasa ritual, a Japmala of Lord Kubera, who is also a yakshasa. He tells us about how dangerous these entities are. If you can end up in a bad place with them, you can find yourself in danger for many lifetimes. So for me, who's somebody who's always experimenting and who learns through direct knowledge, it was discouraging for me. And honestly, after reading that book, I had a panic attack, like literally did a panic attack, because everything that was mentioned over there that was said to be half knowledge, which is dangerous, I actually did basically. I actually do. So I became afraid of that because this person was now saying that, and forgetting that I always had the beautiful results from doing that. So now I had a guru who was telling me nonsense. I don't like such people, man, who always caution us and over caution us for such things. I follow people like Swamiji, who approaches this thing with an open mind. I love such people. Those that caution us. I don't know if maybe it's Robert Swoboda. His nature is trying to fearmonger, or it was a direct teaching from Swami Vimalananda. Apart from that, I think Robert Swoboda is a very, very beautiful author, has so much knowledge, is well educated basically in the Sanatana Dharma, Vedic culture and Ayurveda. Educated, and he's actually blessed to live among such great Swamijis. If I had the chance to do that, I'd be honored, and I'd be forever grateful, eternally grateful for such teachings basically, apart from what I just said. But I just don't like the approach of too much caution. Om Namah Shivaya. I hope you've enjoyed this video up to this far. This is actually another video where I was talking about a homam or a fire ritual. You can comment in the comment section on questions that you have about this ritual, and I'll be happy to guide you through. Another thing that I want to tell you about, there's different shapes of fire pits that you can use for different purposes. Now that's another science on its own. And also I want to tell you something again. The 9 planets, they work immediately, or rather they work much quicker because they are closer to our Earth, basically. So it's much easier to get results for money, it's much easier to get results for fame, for attraction, for whatever that they bestow upon you. It's much easier to get it through the 9 planets. They are much faster. So instead of performing rituals like maybe magical cash book, I'm just doing an example because even now I'm performing a ritual with magical cash book. For performing rituals like that, you can actually chant for a certain planet, and then you conclude the mantra japa with the homam. And the proportions to this would be this. Fire rituals are 1/10 of your mantra japa. If you chant 108 japas for your mantra, and then 18 japas would be done in the fire. You replace, or rather, you just add swaha in the end of the mantra. Another example would be Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha Swaha. As you say swaha, you pour the offering into the water. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya Swaha. Om Anjaniya Mahabalaya Swaha. You understand? Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirviginam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Swaha. You keep on adding swaha just like that. It signifies that you are acknowledging the wife of Agni and you are giving the offerings through her, basically. she is important. So there's that. Um, that's what you would do basically when giving offerings into the fire. The proportions is 1/10 of the japa you offer it into the fire Homam. What I like to do 180, 1080 japas of normal mantra japa, and then I go into the fire ritual. I offer 108 offerings, and then I'm done. They are enough. You can watch for results for the coming days, and you will enjoy your results basically. So that's what you would use, as opposed to the deities like Lakshmi, who delay, or rather first clean your karma to give you results basically of such workings basically. So to get beautiful results, you would recite mantras for planets, and then you would get results. Om Namah Shivaya, Arsonist Fire. You can contact me through arsonist.fya@gmail.com for numerological readings, for consultations, or for any questions on spiritual topics. You can also contact me for this aforementioned book, which is Agora by Robert Swoboda. Has so many scary stories, enriching knowledge in it. You can also contact me for that. Om Namah Shivaya. Please do not forget the donations in our PayPal. I will link it in the description. It's always beautiful talking to you. I enjoy talking to you every time. I enjoy this journey. And Om Namah Shivaya, Arsonist Fire, here on the Way of Dharma 108.